Honourable Minister.
I thank the Honourable Member for this question. His interest in butter. Obviously, Madam Speaker, I think the Honourable Member is quite baffled, and that's why he's asked this question, about various claims made by Honourable Prasad and Vanuatu. Again, Madam Speaker, you see these kind of claims being made in rural areas of Fiji, where perhaps people don't have access to the correct information, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, it has been reported in the media that Honourable Prasad has claimed that the rise in the price of butter has essentially been driven by government and government's policies. I did not hear what I said. I said government and government policies. Listen, it will serve you if you listened. I said government and government policies. In the same way, there's a difference between collation and collection. Remember that, Honourable Speaker? Well, here's different. Here's difference. Here's difference, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker. It needs to be corrected. Go and see the video. Madam Speaker. What Honourable Prasad told the people of Vanuatu is completely false. Madam Speaker, let me give you a few facts. Fiji imports the majority of its bulk requirements, in other words, butter slabs, from New Zealand with a value addition done in Fiji. So as such, butter price in New Zealand fully influences butter price in Fiji. What we call rewa butter, Madam Speaker, is in fact butter that's already made in New Zealand. It's been done since the rewa dairy days, since the Sam Spade days. The Mr. Ramchand days, it's always been done. They bring in the butter, they have these big churners, we like a lot of salt, they throw in salt, they churn it, and then we get rewa butter. That's rewa butter. That's a fact. And for years, Madam Speaker, rewa dairy, as it was known then, has always had protection. Rewa dairy has always brought in bulk butter at zero rated duty. They pay VAT. When the Rambuka government introduced VAT, they started paying VAT on it. And then, Madam Speaker, in order to protect rewa dairy, there was a duty on fully packaged butter that came from overseas brought in by other companies like Anchor Butter, etc. And the duty protection rate, Madam Speaker, was 27%. In fact, in order to salvage rewa dairy, this is before it was divested of its shares, in 2009, we needed to protect it even further. We put up the duty from 27% to 32%. So the duty is not as a result as being insinuated by Honourable Biman Prasad, Madam Speaker, as insinuated by Honourable Biman Prasad, that it was put in only after the divestment took place. That duty protection existed even in all those years prior to that. So it is completely false to aggregate the sale of, or the divestment of shares in rewa dairy, which became Fiji Dairy, to the import duties that have been imposed, Madam Speaker. Completely false. Madam Speaker, the reality is the average landed cost of butter slabs duty-free ranged from $13 per kilogram and went as high as $14.48 per kilogram in 2017 compared to $8.88 in the beginning of last year. Why, Madam Speaker? Because the price of butter worldwide has gone up. There's a huge demand for butter. In fact, Madam Speaker, if anybody does their research well, perhaps some people lose their research skills when they come to Parliament, Madam Speaker, the reality is that there was an increase of 63%, Madam Speaker. Increase of 63%. Why, Madam Speaker? Because most milk producers now in the world actually want to have higher value added products from milk. So because of the growth of the middle class in the Asian market, people want more cheese, they want more cream. These are what you call the high-end products. It takes a lot of milk to make cheese. It takes a lot of milk to actually make cream. It takes actually a lot of milk to make powdered milk. Powdered milk essentially comes from milk that is burnt. A lot of milk needs to be burnt to get powdered milk. This is why, Madam Speaker, even rewa dairy does not even make powdered milk. They import it, they package it, like Red Cow. Lodiers, I think, brings it in. They bring it in bulk and they package it, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, getting back to butter, as we were talking about with subject matter, Madam Speaker, the reality is butter is also price control at the retail end. So we know, Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, I don't know whether Honourable Biman Prasad understands English or not. I just said...
I think the Honourable Attorney-General should give the full information. When he talks about price control at the retail, he's not talking about...
I have not given you the floor yet, but your point of order does not qualify, as you know very well. So please...
the full information.
Madam Speaker, I just said butter is price controlled at the retail level. What does that mean? It means butter is price controlled at the retail level. It means it's not price controlled at the wholesale. Anybody with powers of deduction would understand that. Madam Speaker, I just said that. Madam Speaker, any person who understands finance, most economists do not necessarily understand finance. Madam Speaker, anybody understanding finance would point out, Madam Speaker, see, Honourable Prasad is on extremely soft ground. It's okay to go to the people of Vanuatu and spin things that you want to spin, but when the facts are actually presented, they start making all this sort of noise. The reality is, Madam Speaker, that the duty on butter has been the same even when it was Rewa Dairy. And the fact of the matter is, and I can present all of this in writing, and it can be verified by independent third parties, that the world price of butter has gone up. And if your source of butter is not from your own country, you'll be affected by world commodity prices. Pure and simple. In the same way with fuel. We don't produce fuel. The price of fuel at the moment has gone up. Why? Because there's a cold winter in Europe. In England, everybody's frozen. They need to have heaters. It requires fuel. So the price of fuel goes up because there's a demand for it. Similarly, when there's less of a particular supply and there's a higher demand, obviously the price will go up. And in fact, Madam Speaker, if you look at what has been also said, that, Madam Speaker, what has also been said, that the price of fuel, of butter, any other product that lands in Fiji, in Viti Levu, and goes to Vanuatu, obviously the freight will go up. Because of the price, will have an impact on the price. In the same way, fuel is price controlled. The price of fuel, the margin that's given by the Commerce Commission, of course, will be higher because the cost of fuel to cart the goods will go up, and therefore the price of fuel will go up. Similarly, when they send stuff from Vanuatu to Viti Levu, the price will go up. When you get a goat from Vanuatu, the price of the goat is more expensive in Viti Levu because they have to pay for the freight cost. That's the local export from Vanuatu to Viti Levu. But majority of the goods that go from Viti Levu to Vanuatu actually emanates from this island. So, Madam Speaker, again, I want to acknowledge Honourable Vunivalu's question because I think there's a lot of misinformation regarding this. And the reality, Madam Speaker, is that on the NFP website, it says, Honourable Prasad is saying they would remove the zero duty concession enjoyed by Fiji Dairy and allow all importers to compete on a level playing field. So basically, Madam Speaker, if he is going to allow zero-rated duty on the importation of butter by Rewa Dairy, it will naturally extend to milk and everything else. So let's shut down Fiji Dairy. Let's shut down Fiji Dairy Cooperative Limited. Let's go and tell all the 300 dairy farmers, please don't supply milk because we are going to import milk from Australia and New Zealand. And that's what he calls import substitution, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the reality is that the farmers in Fiji are now getting paid more per litre for milk at the farm gate price than they did before in Rewa Dairy. Than they did before. 20 cents more for premium per litre. That's the reality, Madam Speaker. So farmers are getting. You see, Madam Speaker, the reality is, unfortunately for the opposition, they grab on to something, and despite the facts, you see, the reason why he's interjecting so much, because he's caught out. That's why he keeps on yelling. That's why he keeps on yelling. You see? You see, Madam Speaker? 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 I'm not the one lifting up my hands. Madam Speaker, the reality is, you see, they are obsessed with Southern Cross foods. They are obsessed with it. Because they think this is the genie in the bottle that will save them. It won't. Madam Speaker, please, keep it. Madam Speaker, the reality is this. Southern Cross Foods, when they came into Rewa Dairy had a debt stock of $17 million. I have in my, unfortunately I forgot to bring it, I have in my drawer, when they did the accounts of Rewa Dairy, from Prouds, a Rolex watch was bought by the then Spate for his personal use using Rewa Dairy funds. You look at the accounts of Rewa Dairy, all the shenanigans. The farmers were losing out.
Hey, check on my watch.
Today, Madam Speaker, the farmers have 20% shares in the company without any liabilities. Without any liabilities, they have been paid a dividend of $500,000 in 2015, $1.2 million in 2016, $1.2 million again in 2017. Madam Speaker, this is the reality of what has happened. They have soaked up the debt, and yes, they have been given a protection in respect of other products for a limited period of time. If you look at the agreement, Madam Speaker, of the actual sale, and I'm going to go into this because they're obsessed by it, but that's his issue. Madam Speaker, there were certain conditions that were attached to the sale. And the conditions were that they have to invest in a farm themselves, and I'll actually read it out to you, Madam Speaker. They have to invest in a farm themselves. They have to set up chilling plants in the Western Division, which they already have in Ba and Lautoka. They're going to be with the Honourable Minister's concurrence. Another 2 chilling plants will be set up in Nanrunga and Yangara. Now, Madam Speaker, what this does, it actually has a much bigger reservoir of people who contribute. So you have cane farmers, you have dalo farmers, Yangona farmers, who may be doing, that's their main source of income. If they keep 3, 4, 5, 6 cows, they can get income. They don't have to travel far away, people come and collect it. There's a chilling plant. We are growing, Madam Speaker, the industry. And Madam Speaker, they also had to, of course, invest in modernizing the plant and machinery for the factory to the reasonable satisfaction of the seller within 3 years. And Madam Speaker, whatever concessions they get, apart from butter, it goes off in 4 years' time, it finishes off. It's not for perpetuity. It's for the fact that we wanted to assist the farmers. We want to be able to ensure, Madam Speaker, as any responsible government would do, we need to ensure that there are certain food sources of ours that we still have capacity. If you shut down Rewa Dairy, or it's now called Fiji Dairy, and we bring all our milk from overseas because of this notion of zero rating duty, Madam Speaker, in this rose, Madam Speaker, if you bring it from overseas, what happens when the world price of milk goes up? We'll all be vulnerable to it. We'll all be vulnerable to it. What happens to those 300 farmers, Madam Speaker? Are we going to convert into beef cattle? So, Madam Speaker, this is again a sign like Dungavatu. It's a cheap politics. It's not representing the facts. And Madam Speaker, the reality is that if you go to the supermarket and if you see the price differential, Madam Speaker, it's all price control. We have, Madam Speaker, if you use the same logic as Honourable Prasad, Madam Speaker, there are many other items in Fiji that does have a particular level of protection to bring the industry up. Pinto Industries in Vanuatu, they are given protection. They make certain products because we want the manufacturing sector in Lambasa to grow. So with their policy, Madam Speaker, what will happen was that they'll open up the market, zero rate duty, Pinto Industries closed down, but you may pay 5 cents less for your butter. Where will they get the 5 cents for the butter? You see, Madam Speaker, it does not make sense. It does not make economic sense. So the reality, Madam Speaker, is that we have a provision in place. The price of butter has gone up because of world market prices. And again, Madam Speaker, let me alert everybody, those of you who like sultanas, The price of sultanas in the world market has gone up. Honorable Samasoni may be aware of this because she may put sultanas in the bun she makes. The price of sultanas has gone up in USA by 50% already. Sultanas, currants, dried fruits in that range of the sultana range is already going up. You can read articles now. Honorable Samasoni may want to hedge on it. Madam Speaker, these are some of the issues that we are subjected to because of world market prices. We can't play cheap politics with it. We cannot go to outlying places in Fiji and say, oh, it's gone up because of government, Madam Speaker. So, Honorable Vunivalu, thank you for the question. Please tell the people in the Western Division that this is the truth.